Welcome to our weekly roundup of key business developments in Sri Lanka. I'm Nishani Bigera. Let's first take a look at the main stories for this week. Election nominations open. Treasury issues 2025 budget call. And Elon Musk's Starlink gains license. In our top story this week, elections nominations opened following the deadline for accepting cash deposits yesterday. Almost 40 candidates placed cash deposits, with 19 from recognized political parties and the remaining as independent candidates. Multiple polls suggest that no candidate party has a clear majority to win the elections, thus increasing the importance of preferential votes. The Election Commission was allotted 10 billion rupees to conduct the polls. On Monday, Sri Lanka's Treasury issued a budget call for 2025 with guidelines for the preparation of annual estimates for 2025 to 2027. Under this, circular government revenue to GDP must be increased to 15.1% in 2025 and 15.3% by 2027 from the current estimate of 13.1%. Government expenditure is to be capped at 20% of GDP from 2025 onwards. Other guidelines include maintaining primary expenditure below 13% of GDP and allowing for a primary surplus of 2.3% in line with the IMF guidelines. The overall budget deficit is expected to be maintained at below 5% from 2025 onwards, down from the current 9%. On that note, the Finance Ministry also has instructed all agencies to prioritize fiscal discipline and prudent management in the upcoming 2025 national budget. Additionally, the government also plans to hike the state worker wages by another 24 to 35% in the 2025 budget, which is expected to cost an additional 200 billion rupees. After the revision, the lowest gross salary of a worker would be 55,000 rupees, well above the minimum wage of 17,500. The government also plans to trim the state cadre from the current 1.35 million to 1 million by 2030. The Sri Lankan cabinet approved a reduction in water tariffs. Domestic users will see a 7% reduction. Government hospitals will benefit from a 4.5% reduction, and schools and religious places of worship will experience a 6.3% decrease. This is the first adjustment in tariff since January last year. According to Cabinet spokesman and Mass Media Minister Dr. Bandulu Gunawardena, the tariff reduction aligns with the agreement reached with the International Monetary Fund. This follows a 22% reduction in electricity tariff in mid-July. Worker remittances in July was a significant $567 million, bringing the year-to-date inflows to over $3.71 billion. Strong growth in worker remittances is attributed to the significant number of Sri Lankans who went overseas following the economic crisis in 2022. So far this year, over 187,000 Sri Lankans have left the country for foreign employment, up 15% from a year earlier. On Tuesday, the Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka officially issued a telecommunications service provider license to Elon Musk's Starlink. The satellite unit of SpaceX is to provide satellite broadband services in Sri Lanka. This was made possible after Sri Lanka amended its decades-old Telecommunication Act No. 25 of 1991 to regulate satellite internet service providers. Currently, Starlink owns roughly 60% of the 7,500 satellites orbiting the Earth. Sri Lanka aims to grow its IT sector to $15 billion by 2030, emphasizing the importance of allowing international companies to operate in Sri Lanka. In our weekly tourism update, during the first 11 days of August, over 73,000 tourists arrived in the country. In the year, almost 1.3 million tourists have arrived. Daily arrivals were 6,670 in the month, up from the 6,058 recorded in July. India continues to be the primary source market, followed by the United Kingdom and China. Sri Lanka's tourism industry's earnings reached nearly $2 billion in the first 7 months of the year. The country is targeting to generate $5 billion in earnings in 2024 from about 2.3 million visitors. The all share price index at the Colombo Stock Exchange continued to marginally rise this week. The market remains muted on uncertainty surrounding presidential elections. The index is still at a 4-month low. At the Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yields on 91-day and 182-day maturities rose for the second consecutive week. Bids amounting to 243 billion rupees were received, of which 130 billion were accepted. The Sri Lankan rupee continued to appreciate against the dollar this week, with the central bank's indicative mid-spot rate ranging around 299 to 301 rupees. The central bank notes that the rupee has strengthened by 7.5% against the dollar in 2024. And with that, we wind up for this week. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel at the link below for regular updates on economic and business developments in Sri Lanka. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.